The date is January 18th, 1803. We are in London, at the Royal College of Surgeons. On a cold metal table lies the body of George Forster. Just 1 hour ago, Forster was hanging from a rope at Newgate Prison, executed for drowning his wife and child. He is cold. He is confirmed dead. Standing over him is a man named Giovanni Aldini. He holds 2 wires connected to a massive primitive battery. He isn't trying to save Forster. He is trying to prove that electricity is the soul of life itself. Aldini touches the wires to the corpse's face. What happens next made the audience scream. The dead man's jaw began to quiver. His left eye snapped open. And then, he raised his hand. This isn't a movie. This is the true story of the experiment that shocked the world and created a monster. To understand why a scientist was electrocuting a murderer, we have to go back to frogs. A few years earlier, Giovanni Aldini's uncle, Luigi Galvani, discovered something strange. When he touched a spark to a dead frog's leg, it kicked. They called it animal electricity. In the 1800s, people didn't understand electricity like we do today. They thought it was magic. They thought it was the literal spark of life. Aldini took his uncle's work to the extreme. He believed that if you applied enough power, you could not just make a frog kick. You could reboot a human being. But he couldn't test this on living people. He needed fresh bodies. He needed criminals. Which brings us back to George Forster. Aldini had arranged with the government to claim Forster's body immediately after the hanging. The atmosphere in the room was tense. The audience included doctors, scientists, and even the Prince of Wales. Aldini placed one conductor in the dead man's mouth and another in his ear. When the current was switched on, the reaction was violent. The muscles of the face contorted into expressions of rage and pain. It looked, to the terrified observers, as if the murderer was coming back to life to scream at his executioners. Aldini then moved the wires to the chest. The corpse inhaled deeply. The arm rose and the fist clenched, almost striking the assistant. One spectator was so horrified he reportedly died of a heart attack shortly after leaving the room. Was George Forster alive? No, it was just mechanics. The electricity was bypassing the brain and firing the muscles directly. But to the people in that room, it looked like resurrection. Word of these Galvanism experiments spread across Europe. It became the talk of every dinner party. And listening closely was a young woman named Mary Shelley. In 1816, during a rainy summer in Switzerland, she sat down to write a ghost story. She remembered the stories of Aldini. She imagined a scientist who didn't stop at just making a corpse twitch, but one who succeeded in waking it up. She didn't use magic spells in her book. She used the science of her time. She used Galvanism. So, while Count Dracula was based on a tyrant, Frankenstein's monster was based on a real scientific obsession. The idea that we are just biological machines waiting for a spark. In a way, Aldini was right. Today, we use electricity to restart hearts with defibrillators and control tremors with pacemakers. We do use electricity to keep people alive. But we must remember the human error in his method. The horrifying image of a dead criminal dancing on a table in London, treated not as a human, but as a spare set of parts. Science drives us forward, but sometimes it drives us into the dark. If you enjoyed this dive into the dark side of history, hit that like button and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, if science could bring someone back today, should we do it?